in my teens, I started to be worried about the fact that I was not attracted to girls. And I remember going to confession to a number of priests, might be 3, 4, and the message that I was given was loud and clear, that was nothing to worry about, that was in fact a sign from God that I was meant to go to the priesthood.
My attraction to women was there at an early age, and when I had my first encounter with another woman, I felt guilty because it was considered to be sinful, a mortal sin, which is pretty serious because that meant straight to hell. And when I confessed that, the priest said that I had committed a mortal sin and that I would burn in hell.
A lot of people will say, well, why are you bothering to remain a Catholic? Why do you go to Mass? I don't let the church interfere with my love of God. God comes first.
My childhood really revolved around the church. That was the happiest period of my life. One of my early escapades from home, which lasted about half an hour, was a visit to a shop that sold these small statues, clay statues, which weren't marvelous work of art, but they were, as far as I was concerned, a window into the divine. The statues were really my toys when I was a boy.
My father, whom I loved dearly, would go down on his knees at night before he got into bed, and it always impressed me to see such a strong man submit himself to prayer before he got into bed. My mother was really religious, so I was brought up in a very religious household. My father more in a practical way, in the way that you treat other people. My mother more in a way of following the rules or following the order of the church.
The first point I wish to make is that I describe myself as a Catholic agnostic. I do that for a purpose. First of all, to highlight the tension between matters of the heart and matters of the mind, and also to emphasize the importance of marrying faith with critical thinking.
Well, I am a woman of strong belief in a power, a universal power that is outside of me, but also inside.
Well, without it, I'd have no anchorage. And when I have issues and problems, I always think, oh God, no good asking people. I need to ask God about this. And I usually get an answer. He sends me an answer fairly quickly. He or she.
But it always felt I wasn't good enough. There was something wrong with me. I wasn't as good as what other people were, and maybe in some way influenced me being determined to be the best possible person I could be, because then I didn't need to have it pointed out to me that in actual fact I wasn't up to scratch. So it was a really difficult period through adolescence, young adulthood, but very gradually over time it became, well, I know there's nothing wrong with who I am. I'm a good person. I am who I'm meant to be. I feel very authentic, and people who don't accept that or judge that I think they've got the problem.
Believing in a God or believing in a set of doctrines does not necessarily make you a better person.
Somebody who stands above another person and says, well, you're not as good as I am, for whatever reason, should be questioning themselves, I think, not members of our community.
I'm part of the parish, I'm part of the community. Just because I love women and don't love men shouldn't make it any different.
And that idea of you're either this or that, you're either straight and Christian or that you're LGBTI and therefore couldn't possibly be a Christian, is such a narrow interpretation of faith.
It's very lonely being Catholic and trying to go to Mass, because I've done this, well, all of my life, and if you become involved in the parish, they immediately want to know who you are. Are you married? What do you do? What's your lifestyle? These days, I just tell them straight out, I'm a lesbian.
You know, we claim that we value diversity, but it appears that diversity is only valued as long as it suits us. And I think that is the problem that we've got to face as a community.
It's still really difficult naming yourself as a Catholic when in actual fact, for many people in the church, particularly at the hierarchical level, that you're not really quite up to the mark if you're a member of the gay community. The creation of these rules that determine where people are placed are so anti-Christ anyway. And the least of you are the ones I'm here for. I really think it's actually the hierarchy of the church that has to take a look at themselves and start to notice what the community is saying, because they're listening to one voice, and the voice of people who are driven by the need to be in power and to control others doesn't work for most people anymore. It used to, but it's becoming more and more irrelevant, and the church runs the risk of losing its members completely, simply because they're not facing up to the reality that changes need to be made, and to stop judging people, and to stop making difficulties for people, and to start embracing who people are and where they're at, and truly living as Christ lived, which was to love and to show kindness and to be compassionate and to take those that are disadvantaged with them rather than outcast them.
I think the important thing for LGBTI people of faith is to gather the courage and not only speak out and take pride in their identity, but also making sure that their faith is not or does not stop at the level of devotion. It actually moves on to a level of critical thinking. Being informed is the best shield or the best weapon that anyone can have.
I don't think you have to be a religious person to be happy in life at all, but I think you do need connection. And often our spirituality is lived through others, and it's really important that you have others that you're enjoying life with, connected to, talking to, because I think if you have that, you automatically have a meaningful existence. But if you don't have a community, if you don't have a circle of others that are with you, life is much, much harder than it needs to be.
priority, I think people of faith should first of all take pride in the fact that they are people of faith. Faith is very enriching. You know, it's not just a question of believing in this, that, or another, but faith gives you like an apparatus of thinking. It enables you to resolve problems. It enables you to resolve some of the most important problems in life.
I would love to have had someone say to me in my, mid-teens, late teens, early adulthood, as long as you're true to yourself, that's all you need to be. As long as you're honest with yourself, and as long as you treat people respectfully, then you're living the life that you're meant to live.
Just live it. Be who you are. Be strong. Whatever that means.